How much time? 30? How much time? 30? 30 seconds? I'm on right now. I don't believe you. What? I don't believe you. What?
Saturday morning to Islington North in order to campaign for the Labour candidate against the independent Jeremy Corbyn. I'm doing that because what I think Jeremy Corbyn stands for, his ideology, what he's done to the Labour Party, the sort of defeat he took us down to in 2019, and the alternative that's offered by the Labour candidate is so stark. I want to go out there personally and back the Labour candidate and do everything I can to make sure Corbyn is defeated.
He campaigned for my opponent and...
Jeremy Bernard Corbyn, commonly known as Jeremy Corbyn, independent, 24,000.
we know what the result was, so thanks, Peter.
Good evening, everybody. We have started. Now that YouTube will let us start, but we're off and running. Welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host, Lefty. Very good evening to you all. Yes, very thirsty this evening. It's Tuesday Brews Day, so lashings of hot beverages are going to be required on account of the fact that I've just eaten so much popcorn over the last couple of days. Mostly on Peter Mandelson's accounts. Haha. What a day. A day of redemption. So please do hit thumbs up as you join us on stream, please. People, we've got the Shouty blog, who was first in the chat, JK as well. Pleasure to see you both this eve. How do you brew? Yes, even more revelations have come out since we had that recent video on the channel. So plenty more to go into the Epstein files, and Mandy himself are concerned. It's bad news for Starmer. Is he going to end up going down with him? Who knows?
Oh, God.
Hope so. Really do hope so. So yes, hit thumbs up please, people. Hit the share button as well. Share this stream around, or some other content as well on your social media. Give us a follow whilst you're there also. You can look us up with the handle MyLeftRUK on Blue Sky, Twitter and Mastodon. So check us out, and we'll follow back all like-minded socialist account, of course. Accounts indeed. Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig?
Almost. Erin in the chats, you're a bit wired today, are you? A bit wired. Is that coffee? I'll assume it's coffee. Assume and hope, of course. Getting off with a few proceedings first in a moment. And then we'll see what's coming up on stream. A little buffering on the YouTube studio. Let's see now. I'll have a toggle with some settings one moment. Sorry for anybody experiencing buffering as I speak. Well, if you can hear me. Yeah, so that message was going on and off for a while. It has stayed off for now. Oh, okay. I'm assuming that you are still reading me, and I'll play the members scroll regardless. So hopefully this is coming through. Thank you very much though, people. 176 members now. That's amazing. And you're all very welcome as members. Hit the join button if you'd like to find out more about the benefits of becoming a member. It's just 99 pence. A fraction of the price of a tasty hot beverage. And other ways you can support the channel with super chats if you're watching live. Super stickers are also active and awaiting your instruction. If you're watching back later on, I know obviously late night streams aren't everyone's cup of tea, but if you're watching back later on, then super thanks are also open. And if you are unable to help to support the channel via YouTube, please follow the link for the Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of the stream. No PayPal. If some dodgy email account gets in touch and asks you to PayPal this channel, we don't have a PayPal account. Just so you know. Sorry, I think the last slide there, missed someone off, so I'll give a verbal credit and recognition to long-term member Cole Dyer, who I think was just sort of snipped off the bottom. That wasn't deliberate. I can assure you, Cole, like I said, a solid supporter of the channel. But thank you very much to all 176 members now en route to 250. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff indeed.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So coming up tonight, people, obviously Mandelson, I've already hinted at that quite a bit. Also the latest on the hot seat at the moment, one of my left eye's current hot seats. I say one of it, it's the only one at the moment. I was in general election mode for a moment there, or local election mode. But no, it's just well, it's not your standard by-election by any means. It's quite significant, quite symbolic. In Denton and Gorton, the latest on that. And there have been more developments since we last caught up on stream. Catching up with another example of appalling behaviour from Trump's stormtroopers with a song of ICE, Eat and Fire. And also got an update from some Defend Our Juries trials as well, that kind of exposes the calamity that is the UK courts, especially where protest law is concerned, that is. Plus a few other tidbits. We'll see which way we go. Do let us know how you're all feeling in the chat. Shall I move on now?
On with it. Yes, get on with it.
Okay. We'll get into the evening with a comedy clip first, as we do generally on streams. This one comes from Matt Green, who I've featured on the channel regularly, and if not, you've probably already heard of him yourselves. So he's going to be keeping us entertained, and it's also on topic with what we're going to be going into first on stream. There is a link in the description for this video and his YouTube, so go and subscribe and check out some of his other content. This is the very, very excellent Matt Green.
As yet more files are released in the Epstein case, more famous names.
Ho, or it will be. Why is the... Okay. It's a little strange. One. It's just getting the audio, not video. Oh, it's because of the, yeah. A bit of buffering again, I think, for one or two of you. I'll just hold off a moment, just in case anyone's getting buffering.
As yet more files are released in the Epstein case, more famous names are coming under scrutiny. Our royals, rich people and wrong-uns correspondent, Jonathan Goodenough, has more. Yes, that's right. Celebrities, politicians and business leaders have been bracing themselves for the release of these files, desperately hoping that they don't appear in them, in very much the opposite way that they wait for the Sunday Times rich list. And presumably there's quite a lot of overlap. As Venn diagrams go, I would guess it's not far off a circle. So who has been mentioned? Well, there are the usual suspects such as President Bill Clinton, President Donald Trump and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, but it should be said that they haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. Sorry? Then there's Sarah Ferguson, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Noam Chomsky, although it should be added that they haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. Okay, but then there's Larry Summers, Howard Lutnick, Bill Gates, Steve Bannon, although it should be added that none of them... Why do you keep saying that? What? They haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. Because they haven't been. By who? Anyone. Have you been on the internet? There are accusations all over the place. Well, no one official. Right, so what you mean is they haven't been charged with any crimes. Yes. Yet. Yes. Yet. And they all deny any wrongdoing. Is that just a legal disclaimer? Of course, I don't want to get sued, or worse. Are you accusing them of having people assassinated? God, no, I'd never do that. None of those people have ever been accused of doing that. And if they had, do you really think I'd mention it? So if none of these people have been accused of wrongdoing, why are we interested? Because there was clearly a lot of wrongdoing going on. Right, but no one can say who by. Well, by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for sure. And anyone else? Definitely. Anyone else you can name? Definitely not. Oh, actually, Peter Mandelson. Mandelson? Yes, for approximately the 100th time, Peter Mandelson has been caught up in a scandal involving rich people and money. Can you recap for our viewers the previous scandals? We simply don't have time. In fact, at this point, it might be easier for me to explain the times he wasn't involved in a scandal. And what will happen this time? Well, Keir Starmer's called for him to be...
Well, even Tony Blair had to sack him. Even Tony Blair had to sack him. He was that bad. And he still thinks he can fucking walk on water or something. Yeah.
Stripped of his peerage, partly because there's a photo of him having been stripped of his trousers. Sounds a bit embarrassing. And yet it suggests he might have a future on OnlyFans. Only Lords? So what happens now with the rest of the files? Well, we'll spend the next few weeks trawling through them, finding any incriminating photographs or documents that prove that some terrible things were done by some terrible people. And will anything happen to those people? Some of them will have to resign. And they might even lose a peerage. Anything else? Probably not. Thank you, Jonathan. Next up, as Donald Trump hate tweets through the Grammys, we ask, what is it about seeing young, talented, beautiful and famous people that makes him so angry? And should TV companies broadcast a new awards ceremony every night just to keep him busy?
The Marvellous, Matt Green. Yeah, check out mattgreencomedy.com. There's also a link in the description, like I said, for his YouTube channel and that video if you want to watch it again and boost his views, which I do recommend you do. On point as well, we'll get on to what current reporters are doing where Mandelson's concerned. Not just with the whether they're dancing around other people that have come up in the Epstein files, but Mandelson himself. Everybody. Lock, stock, the entire lot. Just trying to disassociate as much as they can. With him having previously quite a lot of influence within politics, that's proving somewhat difficult for some of them. Let's just put it that way. Shall we open another bag of popcorn whilst I'm on the matter? I think we should. Yeah, the last 2 days have been a veritable popcorn fest. Want to put it that way? So let's get into the matter itself.
Down with it.
There is a lot to say about Mandelson, and one channel that I've come across that has done this particularly well is Political X. so we're going to go through one of their videos. Thanks to the bullshit detective, actually, for throwing this one our way. Do appreciate there's quite a few of you out there who suggest content, things to cover on the channel or videos and whatnot. And it really very well condenses pretty much a lot of the major talking points. We'll go on to some other things after this. Just cue this up. Been a little hesitant because the dreaded buffer circle's back again for a moment. Sorry about this, people. It's been just creeping in for a few seconds or so and then leaving again. Just once I'm assured that you can all see the clip, I'll hit the relevant buttons. And whilst I'm doing that, you can double check that you've hit thumbs up. And you know, I'm not saying it's a Zionist conspiracy. It just could be. It's just a sort of coincidence that we, you know, are anti-Zionist, and sometimes there's a bit of buffering, but could just be a coincidence. Anyway, I think we're all running back to normal.
Down with it.
So this is Political X. Let's see. These are some of the more damning connections between, first of all, Nigel Farage, who we saw in that photograph at the top of the stream, and Epstein himself. Yes, Farage. Toad-faced reform. plc.co.uk/recycled Tories has shown up. What a bastard.
Once upon a time, every vampire had a shadow, but only Steve Bannon's shadow booked flights, gave legal advice, and offered a private island for secret meetings. Byline Times has just published one of the wildest investigations of the last decade. It shows something we were never supposed to see. The messages that sat behind Brexit, behind Bannon's failed European revolution, and behind Nigel Farage's political rise. And that brings us to the central question of this video: was Farage linked to Epstein? To understand the scale of the story, you have to go to the beginning, because the European populist machine everyone thought Bannon created was actually built by people in Nigel Farage's world. On the 9th of January 2017, a new political foundation appeared in Brussels, Le Mouvement, the movement. And it wasn't filled with American operatives or MAGA strategists, it was filled with Farage's people. Lua Ferrari, Farage's former assistant, the woman who later became his partner, literally signed the paperwork. This was her foundation, and therefore it was Nigel Farage's pipeline into Europe. You may remember her from such classics as I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, but also for the housing incident in Clacton where Farage claimed it was his house. It turns out that she was the one that bought it, but no one can figure out where the money's come from yet. And her think tank, the IDDE, is being accused of misusing EU funds to support UKIP campaigning. 3.1 million euros flowed into Farage's political group during the period he was...
Isn't that, you know, irony defined? Also, on top of the fact that for years Farage claimed an EU pension and did nothing but try and move the United Kingdom out of the European Union, but that they actually directly funded those campaigns, not just through his salary, not just through funding him, but through his other nefarious means.
Building this anti-EU network. Yes, the European Union accidentally funded its own opposition. The EU paid for Nigel Farage's political world, and that world built the foundation Bannon would later take over. This wasn't some fringe operation, this was a dinner table of powerful people building a political machine to reshape Europe.
Yeah, obviously Farage on the left there, Steve Bannon, they're sitting next to him. I can definitely recognise the guy with the beard on the right. although he doesn't normally have a beard. I'm not sure, but when this picture was taken, some of the people at the back look a little... Is that Ken from Coronation Street on the left? I can't make that out from here. If you recognise anyone, let me know in chat, but you can clearly see Steve Bannon there.
Long before Epstein's messages even entered the picture. And it was Farage...
And no phones on the table, guys. I mean, what is this? What is this? Honestly.
...who brought Bannon in. According to Modri Carmen, the Belgian lawyer who co-founded the movement, nothing was happening. The foundation existed, but it was empty. No staff, no strategy, just a shell. And then Farage picks up the phone, arranges a private lunch, and introduces longtime ally Steve Bannon to Modri Carmen. And according to Modri Carmen, it clicked. Bannon and the rest instantly agreed he would adopt the foundation as his European headquarters. So to be completely clear, Farage did not join Bannon's project.
European headquarters. Like was he a Bond villain or something? Meanwhile, at the European headquarters of evil...
Farage delivered the project to Bannon.
If you're interested, what I'd like to do is set up something, and I'll fund it somehow, that I think you're the perfect guy. We help knit together this populist nationalist movement throughout the world. Because guys in Egypt are coming to me, the Modi's guys in India, Duterte, and we get Orban and we're somehow some sort of convening authority for conferences and stuff like that, so we can get ideas out there. I mean, do you think that's a worthwhile thing?
Yeah,
nobody's got it. Nobody's doing it right now.
It's not being done.
The reason we're going to beat Corbyn and Sanders is they're not prepared to take on the powers that be.
Right. Okay. So this is either in 2019 or pre-2019 by the language. Sorry, the narrator might have mentioned exactly when it was. I won't skip back just to find out, but yeah, the fact that what do they mean by no one else is doing this? If they mean that there's no far right out there, then good. There's a very good reason for that. Of course, we do have the far right in politics, but the level that Farage wants to take it to, and Steve Bannon, of course, and the way that Trump's doing things now in the White House is it's like another level, an upper echelon, as it were, a hyper tranche of the far right.
We're fire breathers. I mean, we're taking on the establishment every day. You've taken on the Tory party. I'm taking on the Republican Party. They don't have that, and that's why we can steal a march in them. And the reason they don't want to do it, it's immigration. As long as they don't take on the they just refuse to take on the immigration. We're prepared to take it on.
Yes,
it's a global revolt. It's a zeitgeist.
And why do and I don't like to be judging on looks and all this other stuff, but why does Steve Bannon always look like he's just hours away from death's door? I don't know what he's on, but look at those fucking panda eyes. You can see him from halfway across the room. Jesus Christ. They're so soulless as well. Well, yeah. Because he's joined the dark side and the life force itself is being sucked out of him. Just, fucking hell. These ghouls.
We're on the right side of history, but it's going to need the motive power. And the thing that's missing is, that's what I'm really trying to put together now, is the ideas. The ideas have to come in more sharp focus. The economic ideas, the political ideas.
You've also moved, Steve, into a different place.
Yeah.
The minute you stood up on that stage in Alabama, you became a different figure.
Yeah.
You're in a different place.
God, his face there. I'll just look at this. Look at that face there. Farage's face. It's like... Do you know in Lord of the Rings when Bilbo, Ian Holm, is like going for the ring, like in the Fellowship, in the first one, his face changes.
The minute you stood up on that stage in Alabama, you became a different figure.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there's something really creepy about that. And again, not judging on looks, but fucking hell, that kind of evil expression. I think one day, you know, could be a freeze frame on a cover of a documentary. I don't fucking know. When it's all over, and they've had to do Nuremberg 2 or whatever in 20 years. Fucking hell. What a time to be alive.
You're in a different place now. You're not just fixing stuff and operating behind the scenes.
Yeah, my precious, my Brexit, my precious. I won't do the voice. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, shouty bloke. Worth shouting. Yeah, we definitely see him. We definitely see him, Doc. 100% we do. But so many don't. It's one of our biggest frustrations about being a British citizen at the moment. I mean, yeah, put up absolute obvious crap and lies and tripe and shitehawks like this guy, but then let them be roundly mocked and just fade into nothingness and be ignored, be just wholesale ignored. But no, people are taking it seriously, and they're probably the type of people who watch World War II documentaries, and in the early episodes, when they hear about the rise of the far right, they go, "Oh God, these stupid people letting that. You won't catch me doing that. You won't catch me letting that sort of." Why didn't they just stop it? Why didn't they just do something about it? Right, kids, get your coats. We're going to go and point at the coast again until we take our country back. Yeah, that's what frustrates me the most. That some people not only think, "Oh yeah, well maybe that's a point," they go for it wholesale, and it just ignites the most visceral, well, the worst parts of society. We're talking about things like the Southport riots, for example, and all the other appalling examples that we've seen of racism on the streets of Britain recently, and it's all because of bastards like this, like the Toad Man. Well, piss off, Nigel, and when you get there, you can piss off some more.
Making it happen, yeah. You're now the face of it.
Well done, Bannon. Well done, Breitbart. You helped with this hugely.
So Farage's circle built the engine, Bannon climbed in and grabbed the wheel. Now here comes the part.
Alright, they're getting on to how this connects things to Epstein, obviously. That is the subject of the video, of course, not just general Nigel Farage bashing, which is quite easy to do.
He's an asshole, sir.
Nobody expected. The man who quietly fuels the entire operation from the shadows. Jeffrey Epstein didn't just appear around the edges, he became Bannon's unofficial strategist, fixer,
of all of the 7 billion people on the planet, whom should just happen to be involved? Is there anything bad that has ever happened in his adult lifetime that he has not been involved in? I mean, there's only 24 hours in a fucking day, for God's sake, and people only live for so long. But there's 3 million documents out there that's just the latest batch, the latest cachement that's been released. And you'd think that he must have lived 100 lifetimes with the amount of people that, even if it was going on, hourly without sleep, just how can one man, this sick cunt that you can see on your screens right now, be so heavily involved in so much bad shit and with so many bad people on such a fundamental level? We're not talking about 5-minute chats at a fucking dinner party here. We're talking about operations and schemes that go on for years and go deep into governments, even involving people in the UK, obviously the United States of America, Mossad, the CIA. I mean, fuck me. What is this?
advisor and political handler during this European revolution. And we know this because these messages have been released by the US Congress. They come from internal files on Jeffrey Epstein, including his emails and text messages.
He's an
all
asshole
obtained
too, sir. Gun
by
is
the
made
US
first
House
class. Philip
Oversight
asshole.
Committee. And this is where it gets dark, because Epstein offers Bannon anything he needs: accommodation on the island, Palm Beach house, anytime you need privacy. Epstein arranges Bannon's movements with the private planes to Paris, Paris to Italy routing, recommends Gulf Air and Egypt Air when Bannon gets stuck after Oxford protests. He even offers, if you want to come to Paris, I'll send the plane. Epstein also acted as a political strategist for Bannon.
I'll send the plane. I'll just send the plane. And just... one thing is, we need to go further back. It's just, oh, he's a billionaire. Right, so how does that happen? We know where Ghislaine Maxwell got her money from. Fucking stolen pension funds. That's where she got her side of the money from. But as for... sorry, it's
Bannon made...
frozen on a blurry screen there. It's not a technical fault, just coincidence. But yeah, let's talk a bit more about that. Let's find out a bit more about that. Because there are obviously more billionaires now than there have ever been in history, and the term gets thrown around, so it's easy to just go, oh yeah, billionaire, he must have, what did he sell, fucking vacuum cleaners or a longer lasting light bulb or something, or his granddad invented, I don't know, coat hangers. But the truth must be known, and that's something else that we've got to find out about.
15 hours of video of Epstein for what he called a documentary, and this was in a key period, months leading up to what we now know was his arrest and then death.
The future is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a SOP because of all the depravity you've done against young women? And your new SOP is that their women's thinking is the future?
How could you even sit across in the fucking room from this guy and seriously try and interview him without wanting to, no offence, you know, just talking hypothetically, of course, but without being inclined to put those glasses through the back of his fucking head? I mean, honestly.
I've always believed that women would in fact be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter of Time's Up.
Just think about this for a second. He knows that Epstein is a sex trafficker, and he's still interviewing him, making money, getting political advice from him, and using his transportation and legal knowledge.
Oh God, all this fucking popcorn's going to come back up in a moment, just with this guy, and this interview. You know, it wasn't as if my opinion of Steve Bannon could get much lower, but here we are.
It's incredible. During a meeting with Salvini, the guy in charge of Lega Nord, who you may remember was talked about on James O'Brien's show when he interviewed Nigel Farage.
So what about the mud that's been thrown about the far-right parties with which you sit in Europe? The Danish People's Party, the True Finns Party, the Dutch SGP, and perhaps most interestingly, the Lega Nord. I think you co-chair, do you, that group with
yes,
Francesco Speroni? He described Anders Breivik as someone whose ideas are in defence of Western civilization.
No, he didn't, actually. He didn't. One of his members did, and we kicked him out of the group.
No, you're thinking of Maria Borghesio, who went further and said in a radio interview that Breivik had some excellent ideas. But Speroni himself, who is your co-chair of this group, said that Breivik's ideas are in defence of Western civilization.
If you were to come with me to Italy or Poland or Slovakia and listen to the political discourse...
Yeah, anywhere but Clacton-on-Sea, because you won't find him there.
Of course, you would realise how incredibly different it is to what we would consider to be acceptable in this country.
This is Anders Breivik. He is a mass murderer in Norway, and he did this.
Yeah, are you aware of... Do you remember this, or are you familiar with it? Went absolutely batshit with an automatic... Well, several... weapons on an island, killed several kids who were there on an adventure holiday, and this was a very rare example of a mass murder in a Scandinavian country, but look, it just happens to have turned out to have been committed by someone from the far right. Not the woke commie, air quotes, woke commie students that you hear so much about in the probably the Daily Mail comments section.
This is Anders Breivik. He is a mass murderer in Norway, and he did this.
Breivik murdered 77 people on July 22nd, 2011.
77?
8 died when he detonated a car bomb in Oslo. He then...
Yeah, so the thing in Oslo first and then across to the island you can see, and it's almost like something out of a horror fiction or something like this. It really is incredible.
Then travelled to the nearby...
Incredibly bad, that is.
Island of Utoya, where a group of teenagers were on a Labour Party youth camping trip. He killed 69 of them. It was Norway's worst peacetime atrocity.
If you were to come with me to Italy or Poland or Slovakia and listen to the political discourse, you would realise how incredibly different it is to what we would consider to be acceptable in this country.
Sorry, an ever so slight detour there, but quite an important...
That's Nigel Farage's way of saying that they're all fucking neo-Nazis, basically.
Important one to give you context as to who this man is and who these two are dealing with. Because Bannon is texting Epstein about this, and Epstein writes, "Hopefully you're sitting on Salvini's lap." Bannon goes, "Vice versa. Epstein, lol. Ah, the power of dark." Epstein wasn't just making jokes or...
The power of dark. The power of dark. So it's obviously thoroughly accepted now that Epstein pretty much had the goods on everybody who came through the door, filmed them in, shall we say, compromising situations, and that's, putting it lightly, absolutely revolting proclivities is probably a more accurate way of putting that, and then use that for leverage. It was probably put up by Mossad, as well as having connections, apparent connections, with the Central Intelligence Agency in New York. But don't tell Andrew Marr that, because he'll just want you to go on about a minority of potential dealings with Vladimir Putin, as opposed to the reality of Israel's name being smeared all over this, which is something that some of you brought up in the chat as well, actually, and rightly so. Do keep your comments coming in, people.
Checking in or helping with travel, he was giving Bannon practical advice on how to run a political operation without getting caught. He told Bannon to use organisations in the US called a 501c4s because they don't have to reveal who gives them money, which makes them perfect for hiding political funding. He warned Bannon to avoid triggering FARA. That's a law that forces people to reveal if they're working for foreign political groups. Epstein also suggested creating a media company because journalists get legal protections, which could then help shield the whole operation. And he told Bannon to get someone else to speak to the Justice Department so Bannon's own name stayed out of anything risky. This wasn't casual talk, it was detailed advice.
For people who claim that they're not doing anything wrong, they certainly go a long way out of the way to do a lot of shady things and make sure that people don't see what they're up to. That's another interesting factor, isn't it, people?
On how to move money, dodge scrutiny, and protect themselves. The kind you'd expect from a political fixer or an intelligence contractor, not a disgraced billionaire who was supposed to be nowhere near politics. From these leaked emails, we see exactly what Bannon, Farage, and Epstein were trying to do. Their goal wasn't small. They believed they could reshape European politics by building a powerful far-right alliance across the continent, but even further than that, from America all the way across the whole of the continent of Europe. Bannon bragged to Epstein, for example, that Belgium's government collapsed 5 hours after his speech.
And I've not even gotten on to the point that, of course, Farage here is colluding with an American, obviously unelected, to have influence over British politics. And if Mandy's gone for what he's done, then surely Farage has got to go as well, because this is awful. This is utterly damning. I mean, how can he try and worm his way out of this one? I hope this is going to be put to him by the mainstream media properly. No softball crap from Laura Kussenberg or whatever. But he's got to go. This has got to be the undoing of him. I don't have the exact figures to hand, but the amount of times that Farage comes up in the Epstein files runs into the high hundreds or low thousands. I do recall that ballpark area. And the picture that you saw as well at the beginning of the stream has been 100, and I do mean 100% certified as genuine, with a 0% chance of it being AI or CGI.
Claiming he'd spent most of the day in a hotel suite trying to unite rival nationalist groups in order to make this happen. At the same time, he was messaging Epstein that he'd been pulled into the Brexit thing with Farage, Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg during a moment when Theresa May's leadership was close to falling. And we're not done yet, because Epstein talks about seeing Steve Bannon in London and how Bannon is embarrassed.
And in an email to journalist Michael Wolff, Epstein talks about seeing Bannon in London, saying he seemed paranoid about any reporters seeing me with him. My guess is he's working hard on his relationship with Trump, who he sees as newly ascendant, and being seen with me may, and it's hard to get the exact implication here, but seem would affect that. And then he writes, Bannon's media tour seemed with an eye toward an audience of one.
And it didn't end there, because Farage launched his own American...
Piers Morgan's name came up there for anybody. I don't know, Piers Morgan.
...version of this European movement called World for Brexit, using the same dark money structure Epstein had recommended.
He's
But
an
simply,
asshole too, sir.
this
That
wasn't
is
a
made
casual
first-class
friendship.
Philip
It
asshole.
was a coordinated
He's an
attempt
asshole
to build
too,
a
sir.
political
That is made
wave
first-class
across
Philip
Europe,
asshole.
the UK and the United States, with Farage's team building the structure, Bannon organising the push, and Epstein sitting in the background as a shadowy advisor. So after everything we've seen, the messages, the travel, the political plotting, we circle back to the question we started with. Was Farage linked to Epstein? And
Yes.
the answer is simple. Not directly, but a lot of the people in his world were. Farage's partner built the foundation Epstein advised, Farage set up the lunch that brought Bannon in, and Bannon, the same man who Epstein was messaging, advising, coaching and joking with.
During the good times, it'll be all, oh yeah, Epstein, yeah, I know him, do you want to, I can set you up with whoever, all these other pieces of shit. But then when the truth's out, it's like, oh no, barely knew them. Who? Oh yeah, we had, my partner had some loose dealings back in the 1630s with not their family, their family's cousin's cleaner. Yes, so I didn't really know anything about that whole thing, honest.
Was right in the middle of Brexit politics.
Well done, Bannon. Well done, Breitbart. You helped with this hugely.
And again, Farage sits at the centre, surrounded by the same kind of men. Wealthy, disgraced, morally rotten characters who somehow keep turning up behind Brexit. Let me know your thoughts.
Always the same faces. Always the same faces, like we say. That was from Political X. Do check them out. Do go and subscribe. That was an awesome summary of Farage's connections with this whole thing. Quite damning and revelatory, as you saw. Worth subscribing to that channel as well. Great alternative media from Political X. Obviously Mountbatten Windsor's name has come up. I won't go through any recent articles, just a very quick mention. It's turned out that Epstein, provided Mountbatten Windsor with some women, which, wealthy people being acquainted with sex workers is no new or extraordinary thing. These women were all in their 20s, however, it's now been disclosed that they may have been illegally trafficked directly to him. For whatever sort of stuff he's into specifically, dread the thought. But yeah, got in touch with his trafficker friend, and he probably sent the plane over or whatever he does. So those are some of the latest allegations about Mountbatten Windsor, who's been unfortunately forced to move from a massive house to a slightly less massive house, and cannot hunt game to make himself feel better during all these crises. So a real punishment you can see at the moment. Bill and Hillary Clinton have now said that they will testify in front of Congress over Epstein. That's some of the latest news. That initially refused to do that. Also, just back to where Mandelson's concerned, as I said, there's been this huge combined effort to try and disassociate from Peter Mandelson. Oh look, here's Darren Jones from back in 2009 celebrating the fact that he created a Twitter account. I don't know about you people, but yes. So, that was Darren Jones rejoicing about that one back in the day. You can almost hear them going through the profile history now, can't you? Another waste of oxygen, Luke Akehurst, also back in 2017, saying Mandelson saved the Labour Party and grew up in it. Huge defender of Mandelson. He didn't save the party, he made it neoliberal, and along with others helped to trash its socialist roots in favour of basically Thatcherism. Luke Akehurst was, of course, one of the Starmer cronies who was parachuted in to the 24 election. He'll soon be out on his ear. He's in Labour Friends of Israel as well, in case you needed any more reason not to like Luke Akehurst. Someone else who's certainly been expressing some concern about all of this is Emily Maitlis. You know, from the newsagents is her thing now. So let's see what she had to say, because some pretty interesting points to bring up. I think it's worth saying. Graham, good evening. Very nice to see you. Viva Viva Palestina. How do you brew? Right, so Emily Maitlis, whatever.
There are worse elements to the Mandelson-Epstein relationship, and they go to the heart of Mandelson's role in Number 10 at Gordon Brown's side when he was his business secretary and de facto deputy prime minister, trying to influence government policy to help billionaires in the US save money on tax. I can't get my head around that.
She can't get it. She can't get her head around it.
Get my head around that. Looks like it's as if, you know, Darren Jones now were trying to help parents get off paying VAT on private schools, and he'd be like, but sorry, but this is your government's policy. What are you doing? Why was Mandelson seemingly on the side of the billionaire?
She's very confused, isn't she?
Paedophile, and not on the side of his own.
Why wasn't he on the side of his own country? Why was he on the side of a billionaire? But well, why don't you ring him and can ask him yourself? Why don't you just pick your phone up right now and ring him and ask him yourself? And maybe you could have a bit of a chat about what you and Mandelson were up to back in 2017. So, I'm Emily Mateless or Matless, whatever it's pronounced as. I'm so confused. I don't know anything about Peter Mandelson. No, definitely not. Definitely 100. I'm so confused. I don't get it. I don't get it. Another one caught out. And they keep on coming. Wes Streeting is another one. Who's now going to have to try, yet fail, to disassociate himself from Mandelson. And plausible deniability doesn't even come into it. They all knew what he was like by reputation, at least. Some of them with direct knowledge. Who continued to back him. But that's all I'll say for the Serpentine one. For now, we'll leave that segment alone. Fortunately, didn't bring back up all the popcorn been eaten over the last couple of days. Let's just continue to enjoy his demise. They're going to be debating on in Parliament tomorrow as to whether they can bring in legislation to remove his title. Of course, he won't be in the House of Lords, effective as of tomorrow. But he still holds the title, and that has to be stripped of him with specific legislation. So, would appear that a lot of Labour MPs are going to be going along with the Tories, who have tabled this motion. So, I'll keep you up to speed with that tomorrow anyway, people. We'll come back to that. For now, though, we'll get on to other matters.
Down with it. Yes, get on with it.
Weasley Wes did do that. Indeed, shouty bloke. Indeed he did. Yeah, and that's a hot potato. That's a spicy spud that we could go on about for some time, but another spicy spud. Hot potato. A hot seat, in fact. We still have Gorton and Denton, of course, the upcoming by-election later in the month. In 23 days. 22 days. So what's the latest? I've got another great video from Hannah Spencer, first off, talking about why she'd like to see more tradespeople and local business people in the House of Commons as opposed to careerist politicians and the super wealthy, so on and so forth. So we're going to kick off with that and then go through a bit more about the latest in the seat. There have been some pretty interesting developments, as well as something controversial cropping up, not to do with Hannah Spencer, obviously the candidate for the Green Party, in case I needed to mention that. But not controversy surrounding reform either, for a change. But with your party. More on that to come after this really good video from Hannah Spencer.
We need more people from all backgrounds into the places where decisions are made, and I think that will really resonate with people who are really fed up of politicians doing and saying the same things, and it's time that we can genuinely really change that. I want to see tradespeople on the benches in Parliament, cleaners, taxi drivers, people who work in takeaways, like whatever job, the people who keep this country going should get a seat at the table. Working in customers' houses and their homes, I see all the different ways that people live, and I see some absolutely heartbreaking situations that people are forced to live in, and I've seen that in Greater Manchester the whole time I've been working here. I've seen with my very own eyes how much people are struggling, but I also see that it doesn't have to be this way. I know there is a solution, I know there is an alternative. We need more.
Yeah, you see it every day. You see it not just in Gorton and Denton, practically every area. In Manchester, in Greater Manchester, in the north, on the whole, all the northern counties, all the way up to Scotland, and including Scotland, of course. Solidarity with Scotland. But we're just not directly represented the way that we should be. This term, the House of Commons, is so ridiculous. This is one of the reasons that I personally am involved with Take Back Power as well, who call for replacing the House of Lords with something properly representative, chosen by sortition and not by, well, let's be honest, donation. Whether it's your Russian billionaire, whether it's one of your former political allies, you know, someone who lied for you to get you out of a tight spot once. But no, a real house of the people, a real citizen's house. And as Hannah was pointing out there, in the Commons as well, we need a lot more of. Could you imagine that? A House of Commons full of genuinely working class people, all or most of them state educated, not privately educated, of course, not coming from wealthy backgrounds, so on and so forth. And then in the second chamber, something that cannot be there to benefit people's careers, it's purely there for democracy. I'd say that'd be a good start. It'd certainly help keep fascism at bay. Lest we remind ourselves, currently on the clock, which can be dramatically reduced at short notice. We have until 2029. Three years might sound like a long time, but if I asked you to hark back to 2023, you might not think that that was a particularly long time ago, and it wasn't. So we've got to keep them out. I say we, that is we, the people, collectively. However you're going to vote, however you can actually do something as well. However you'd like to, you know, if you can, campaign or protest. Things will have to be done. Because we don't want to even have to think about what the alternative is. Right, just a few more updates. on the seats. It's a hot one. So in light of the fact that even though the bookies still have the Green Party as favourites, depending on which polls you follow, it's either the Greens or Reform in the lead. That being the case, some of the parties who were polling in the single figures or around 10% have decided to stand aside in order to give the Greens a better chance. So your party have officially stepped aside, which is something we're going to go on through in a moment. But also the Workers' Party of Britain will not have a candidate. There will not be any independents standing in Gorton and Denton either. In fact, aside from Hannah, it appears that the only left-wing candidate on the ballot, and there's certainly no doubt that they are on the left wing. So don't get started in the chat or anything. Yeah, from the Communist League. The candidate from the Communist League is apparently still standing. But I would heed you vote Green if you are in Gorton and Denton. So that leaves Lib Dem, Tories, Reform, Green Party and obviously Labour, who currently hold the seats, but are almost certainly set to lose it. Just back to your party now. Zara Sultana here put this statement out earlier. I'll just quickly go through this. She says, the unelected interim leadership of your party has still not formalised local branches or ensured members have access to their own data. This should have been resolved months ago, allowing local members to dramatically select your party candidates for the upcoming Gorton and Denton by-election. The candidate list is now published and it is clear that Hannah Spencer, a local plumber and trade unionist, is the strongest challenger to Labour and Reform. I am therefore giving my personal critical support to her and the Green Party in this by-election. I urge others to do the same. I have always been clear that the left is strongest when it is united. Our real opponents are not one another, they are Reform and the far right. As a young Muslim woman, I understand viscerally what it would mean for the far right to gain power in this country. This is not only abstract debate for me, nor the millions of people across the country whose safety would be directly affected. That is why I want your party to become what it was founded to be, a mass working class party that unites the left, provides a genuine socialist and anti-imperialist alternative, and prevents Nigel Farage and his cronies from ever getting the keys to Downing Street. Together, your party will be that vehicle. Ultimately, defeating fascism must be our number one priority, Zara Sultana, Member of Parliament, your party for Coventry South. Okay. Good statement, rather humble, bit of, sneaked in a bit of self-promotion for the party, but she'd obviously have to explain to members and whatnot why they are standing down. They just haven't got through the procedures that are required, essentially, at risk of droning on about the technicalities, which I'll refrain from doing here. But they just didn't make the cut in time. The deadline has now passed, and no candidate was selected. Simple as that. However, so there are two slates for the leadership. I'm sure most of you are already aware of this. I'll just very briefly explain. Jeremy Corbyn's slate, or the one that he is backing, that is for the many. Zara Sultana herself, the author of this letter, this statement, is backing the grassroots left. However, I'm certain that Zara Sultana had nothing directly to do with this, but there seems to have been something of an embarrassing faux pas from the communications team within left grassroots, or grassroots left, I should say, the slate. And now I do want your party to get their shit together and start to be effective. However, we're all aware of the embarrassing public arguments and whatnot that have happened in the past. But this as well, not certain who's responsible for this, but there's really no other way to put about it. It doesn't look good. This really doesn't look good. Zara Sultana spoke a little bit, I should say, about left unity in that statement there, but this certainly has the opposite sort of vibe. If you'll see where I'm coming from. I don't know if you've seen this one going around social media earlier today, but it's pretty cringe, especially when you consider, of course, that they don't have anyone on the ballot. Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn as well have both been very clear in stating they're happy to stand aside to give the Greens the best chance of winning. But whoever came up with this, I think, well, first of all, probably won't be allowed anywhere near the social media ever again, or might even be expelled from the comms team or whatever. But I'm not being funny, this is awful. I'll just read through it very quickly, because it just absolutely reeks of, you know, I don't know. I'll read it first and then I'll assess how to describe it, I guess. Gorton and Denton by-election should have had a principled socialist candidate on the ballot. Your party members should have been allowed to democratically elect a candidate, and branches should have been recognised months ago. Grassroots left members on the CEC will fight to immediately recognise your party branches and hand over local data and resources so that such situations cannot be repeated. Grassroots left should not lend unconditional support to the Green Party candidate. Grassroots left will not lend unconditional support to the Green Party candidate because Greens are a pro-capitalist, pro-NATO party and have been enforcing cuts in councils all over the country. And that's it, apparently. The message ends. Not signed by anyone. Not sure how this was authorised, how it got out there, how it may or may not have been vetted. But I don't think that's great. I don't think that's great. It doesn't make your party look good. It's somewhat arrogant, as it were, for something that has to be recognised as a humble, and it's even there in the fucking name, grassroots party. And this is just the slate of one of the grassroots parties. So I guess they're just trying to say, simply because they failed to get their act together and get a candidate on the ballot, that they're going to refuse to campaign for the Green Party on those apparent principles that were stated towards the end there. But the wording and the way it was put, I certainly don't think lends much credence to the party. And this is something that we certainly didn't want to see coming up again, because obviously this is the slate that Zara Sultana supports, and she was very clear about supporting the Greens and her reasons why, and I dare say that she might have some indifference to this statement. That remains to be seen. And again, I'm not trying to trash your party or anything. I'm just trying to express my frustration in how slow it's coming together, just to wind it back to, you know, that 3 years to stop fascism thing. That little thing, you know. Do you want to see us going down the same road as the United States? JK, yeah, I should probably put that at the end of every Labour MP. The old, yeah. Well, I can say Mandelson. I just can't say the full name usually without vomiting. Could extend that. Probably have to, you know, as more and more files come out. Who knows? Graham, yeah, and again, back to Workers' Party have also stood down as well as the Independents. You don't see them making a big hoo-ha about it either, you know, like we saw in that statement there. It's just, okay, fair enough, we're only currently polling at, what, 9-10% tops. We'll graciously stand aside because we do have a mutual interest in keeping reform out. I think anybody with anything between their ears should have a mutual interest in keeping reform. plc.co.uk/recycle Tories out of any constituency. Unless they start a new one at the bottom of the sea. Hey, Phil, write that one down. That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. So I would also assume, obviously, that most of those independents would have been left-wing or would describe themselves as, you know, left-leaning. I always discount so-called centrists or moderates anyway. They're just neoliberals who don't want to say that they're neoliberal. Oh, we have your party member in chats live. That's awesome. Effra Wells, great to see you, as always. So you're a bit embarrassed by the latest shenanigans as well, I can see. And you say even more embarrassed, if not outright mortified. Yeah, I think that's an even better way to describe it. Because I do have a lot of respect for Corbyn. I do have a lot of respect for your party. Very excited when they announced it was going to be a thing. Was hesitant to sign up for the website at first, and hesitant to become a member. I'm not a member of the Green Party either, I should also add. But I just have... give me a reason, give me a super solid reason, because I don't place my political allegiance lightly, people. Really have to... It can't just be, oh yeah, I kind of go along with some of the stuff or whatever. I really have to 100% be behind them. And especially as someone who's involved in political and environmental non-violent direct action as well. I have my frustrations with just how slow politics is in general, as it is. One reason I myself have chosen to use non-violent direct action is that it is certainly a lot faster. It was certainly more effective in keeping 4.5 billion barrels of oil in the ground, for example. I'm sure that isn't something that Keir Starmer would currently be falling over himself to do. If myself and my fellow protesters had not gone out and done that. So, yeah, those two things together are pretty mortifying when you see the public arguments as well, and obviously the whole Corbyn-Sultana fallout, public fallout, the boycotts at the conference as well. And I probably might have even said it out loud to myself when I saw the news about the boycott at the conference. Just, oh, what is it now? Or what have they done now? Or words to that effect. And probably did another bit of an eye roll when I first saw that one. Okay. Did you see this one as well? Labour's attempt to try and put people off voting for Zach Polanski. So, this just sums up Labour so well. So well. They think that they've got a gotcha moment with Polanski. Why don't... You're a Mancunian. Why don't you go and stand in Gorton and Denton yourself? One green bottler is the... Ha 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 ha. They were up all night thinking of that one. If Zach Polanski thought the Greens could win in Gorton and Denton, he'd stand himself. Well, first of all, he's lived in London for the last 20 years. He is from Manchester, but he's not from Gorton and Denton. And that is pretty rich, putting up someone who isn't actually from Gorton and Denton, but for Labour to just strongly suggest that they parachute him in. Tells you what Labour are all about. You're not going to have Andy Burnham. No, we're going to parachute this person in. Someone who lost in 2024, by the way, but don't hold that against them because, yeah, Keith's 100% behind them. And I'm pretty certain that before the next general election, Polanski's probably going to win a seat in London anyway. So, you probably want to represent people who live closer to where he's lived for the last 20 years, even though he is still very closely tied to his Manchester roots, of course. We saw him dancing the night away in a bar he used to work in, of course, just the other weekend, didn't we? Not drunk because... And this is the other thing. This is the other thing. During his Laura Kussenberg interview on Sunday, he not only revealed that he's never taken a drug in his life, as opposed to Keir Starmer, who joked about it in the House of Commons once, but he's never drank alcohol. He's a teetotaler. He's a teetotaler. What can you say? What can you say? It's pretty barrel-scraping stuff from Labour there. They're going to lose the seats. The question is, who to? Well, let's see. Reform have been out campaigning, and they've put up some real big guns in the seats who try and make sure that their man Matt Goodwin, GB News presenter, you would have seen him on our last live stream dressed as an absolute spiv, stood next to a Lamborghini. So here's, they've brought out Jonathan Goulis. Yes. And what a turnout. What a turnout that Jonathan Goulis managed to bring with him. Of course, he was voted out last time around, and then he couldn't get a job. He used to be, was it a teacher? I can't believe it. But anyway, struggled to get a job, obviously, after having dragged his own name through the mud with the Tory party. And then desperately went cap in hand recently to Reform, so you can see he's managed to garner, yes, you guessed it, 5 white dudes of a certain age, and there they are as you just come into Gorton. It looks like from the Burnage end, I believe, but compare that to the kind of numbers that have showed up to help campaign for the Green Party. I mean, look at this. And yeah, there were more out for Reform when Farage went, whatever, but the support for Hannah Spencer compared to the support for Matt Goodwin has just been, well, it's eclipsed it, basically. How many rows back does that go? 6, 7 rows back? The camera's a friggin' mile away, and they still can't fit everybody into the shot. Is that a college or school grounds, office yard, car park, whatever it is? Yeah. loads. And men, women, people of all kinds of background, well, working class background, of course, but not just basically a bunch of gammon dudes. There are brown people there, black people there, young people, old people, probably a few tradespeople, local tradespeople in there as well, like Hannah Spencer is plumber and plasterer. You compare that to this. It's not very good, is it? Not looking good for Goulis, but as far as the bookmakers have it, it's still looking good for the Greens. Marginally. This is still a campaign that has to be fought hard. It's easy to take the piss out of reform. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. But they do remain the main competitors. So almost even money for the Greens, 15-8 for Reform. That's roughly 2-1 for anyone who doesn't do odds or whatnot. Labour at 5-1. So from a 13,000 majority to third favourites at 5-1. Which is roulette odds, not Russian roulette odds, by the way. Literally. Almost 2-1 for Reform, and even money for the Greens. But you can also now discount Workers' Party of Britain. That's very, not sure. 500-1 is a little generous for a party that aren't standing in the seats. But it's still worth noting that they're in front of the Conservatives, even though they don't have a candidate. That might just be some sort of error on the book there. They forgot to take Workers' Party of Britain off. Who knows? So that's the latest. Still a few weeks to go though. We've had people in the chat recently who were planning on going and campaigning as well, so good luck. And that's where we'll leave the hot seat for now, Gorton and Denson. More on that to come in future content, people. But for now...
Down with it! Yes! Get on with it!
Get on with it we shall.
Socialists.
Up next, people, another example of shocking behaviour from Trump's Gestapo. Yeah, more innocent bystanders now being not just threatened, having weapons pointed at them, but arrested just for filming. A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F. Yeah. So that's what we're going to take a look at in the latest episode of A Song of A.S.O.I.C.E.A.F and Fire. Did the audio cut out for anyone else for a bit during that, or was it just me? Never mind. Okay, fuck it. Let's just quickly get through this.
Hey, you need to back up. You need to back up. Stay safe.
Okay, you can see there this is from Ford Fisher. News to share. I'll just play this through. See what you make of it. Now, these people were just filming some of them in the cars, and they're being forced out of the cars by ICE.
They're pointing handguns at the drivers in the vehicle right now. Get out. Hey, get back. You guys need to stay back. You can record, but you gotta be back. Get out. Hey, open your fucking door. I need you to back up a little bit more. Hey, get back.
So these aren't migrant suspects or anything. They're in operation in the area. They're being filmed by these people.
Hey, get the fuck back. Back. Hey, no, don't get on the road. Stay back over here. Okay. You guys can take pictures, you just need to stay back. I see your press, you're good.
Should I cue up the Star Spangled Banner and play it over the top of this? I'm pretty tempted to. And I'll just really crank it up for those lines at the end, eh? Yeah, ICE received training by the RDF. Good point there in the chat, Graham. Same method, same methodology. It's just gangster methods. Basically, it's pure thuggery. It's pure thuggery. Automatically treat every suspect as a terrorist. This so unhinged. What happened to... I mean, we heard a couple of days ago that Trump said things were going to begin to de-escalate. We've not really seen that happening. Goodness me. It's almost like he was being dishonest.
Check you for ID. That's fine. I see you. I recognize you. Push the creds down. You're fine. If you got creds, pull them out. I got you. Thank you. Legitimate, please. Or for AB. Okay. A lot of fake ones out there. So you know, these guys were all threatening us yesterday with handguns. So,
These people are threatening you with handguns?
Yeah. Handguns, like threatening
We
know. So.
Oh, you mean like with hand symbols?
Pulling them out, trying to engage us.
Pulling out literal guns?
No. Making, assuming that we were going to do something. So.
Did I hear that correctly? I know it was a little muffled because he's got his face covered, but he's saying that this is happening because he can read people's minds and knew that they thought that ICE were going to do something, and that is why they're being arrested. I'll just have to reassure myself that that's what he's now on the left where it's frozen at the moment. I think he wears glasses with the khaki sort of coloured cap on. Just listen to what this fucking piece of shit says.
No. So.
Oh, you mean like with hand symbols?
Pulling them out, trying to engage us.
So he strongly suggested there that they pulled out some weapons and tried to engage with them. When the other guy asked if that was the case, he's like, no. It's like, well, why did you say it then? So they took out their guns and tried to engage. They didn't have them. But they were thinking about it because I'm a mind reader, and it's unbelievable.
Pulling out literal guns?
No. Making, assuming that we were going to do something.
So. Assuming that they were going to do something. So that's it. Yeah, that's all I need to put in front of a district judge in the fucking morning. Get to fuck. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. What's this now? Thought police? You were in your car thinking of drawing the weapons that you don't have. No. These people are being rendered because they were filming ICE and for nothing else. That's just so pathetic. Doesn't bear thinking about.
Socialists. Oh my God.
What do you think about that, people? Let me know in the chat. Just a brief episode of a song of I.C.E. on fire. But there will be more to come, I'm unfortunately certain. Just bringing things back to UK protests now. Got a couple of videos here for you with some updates on some of the Defend Our Juries trials. This is something that we've covered quite a bit on the channel, with yours truly being part of Defend Our Juries, as well as some of our viewers as well. So some shenanigans from Westminster Magistrates Court. I've not... Let me think. No, I've not had any cases at Westminster, but I've been outside and showed support a fair few times for other people. So first of all, you won't believe these testimony statements here from Angie Zettler, who we're going to hear from first, and then Tim Crossland. So they more or less speak for themselves. And for anybody who's not familiar, Defend Our Juries, or DOJ, are a protest group who support PAL Action. They protest against the prescription of PAL Action, the prescription as a terrorist organisation. They also support those who are on hunger strike as well at the moment, as well as generally supporting Palestine, a free Palestine, and full trade embargo and an end to weapons sales to Israel, for anyone who's not familiar with the organisation. I guess the two testimonies speak for themselves, so we'll start with Angie here, who gives a great oration.
But this is my plea hearing for the August case. The police had muddled up which my address was, so I was put on first because I should have been here a couple of weeks ago, but they hadn't informed me properly. I think non-compliance is really, really important. We mustn't make this too easy for them. They're trying to just put us through a sausage machine, basically. So I went in and gave my name and address, and when they said, do you plead guilty or not guilty, I started reading out my statement, and this is it. I think it's a terrible indictment of the criminal justice system that you are charging me with terrorism and not our government with aiding and abetting genocide. We are not terrorists. The terrorists are those who have bombed Gaza, killing more than 72,000 named Palestinians and leaving thousands more unnamed still under the rubble. It is the Israeli government who is now deliberately starving the survivors in Gaza and annexing more and more of the West Bank and Jerusalem. It is they who are continually breaking the ceasefire and continuing the bombing of civilians trying to survive in the wasteland.
Very warm welcome to No Justice Raiders. Just had a notification there. You're all very welcome. We're just going through a statement from one of the Defend Our Juries protesters outside Westminster Magistrates Court, where there have been one or two shenanigans where DOJ are concerned. You're all very welcome here. Please do hit thumbs up as you join us on stream. Shout out to No Justice. Free plugs. Do go and check out No Justice at No Justice MTG. 2025 winners of Alternative Channel of the Year as well, co-winners, here on My Left Eye. Shout out again. Welcome, Raiders.
And it was at this point that the judge tried to go after trying to stop me. But I said before she went, you as a judge have a legal duty as well as a moral one to recognise the paramount importance of international law and not to allow a corrupted domestic law to supersede it. I urge you to remember the judge's trial at Nuremberg, when 16 German justices were prosecuted for war crimes and crimes against humanity. They stood accused of judicial murder and other atrocities, which they committed by destroying law and justice in Germany, and then utilising the corrupted legal process for the persecution, enslavement and extermination of Jews and others. Most were found guilty of perverting justice to support Nazi policies. By sitting in this so-called terrorist court and allowing these prosecutions to continue, I indict you with perverting the true course of justice. The UK, ever since the 1970 Balfour Declaration, have enabled Zionists to take over Palestine as a settler colonial enterprise. It is the UK of today who provide not only the political support, but also the weapons, training, surveillance and RAF military bases that are still enabling the genocide to continue. The International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice and the UN Commission of Inquiry have all offered interim or definitive statements that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. This is a crime under international law, and the British government, as a signatory to the UN Genocide Convention, is duty-bound to prevent it. We, peaceful protesters, are simply making clear Britain's international obligations to stop supporting Israel's genocide, land theft and destruction of the Palestinian homeland. So I did manage to read out most of that while I was sitting on the court floor and they were trying to pull me out. And then they got me outside the court and told me to get up or I would be taken down and thrown out of the court. So I urge all of you to not comply as much as you can. I wish you all the best of luck. The protests go on.
Great message there from Angie Zettler to her fellow co-defendants there at Westminster Magistrates Court, choosing non-compliance as a form of further protest, even as proceedings get into court as well, like you heard there, saying that great statement as she sat on the floor of the court. Brilliant stuff. And she wasn't the only person who was threatened with, or in fact actually removed. We're going to hear from Tim Crossland now about his experience. These incidents both took place today, I should just point out as well. So Tim Crossland next.
Well, I've just been carried out of court following my plea hearing on the Section 13 Terrorism Act offence for holding a sign. I'm a bit surprised. I've been a lawyer for more years than I can remember, well over 30. The point of a court hearing is to hear both sides. And I had a really simple point, that nobody should be put in a position of having to give a plea before raising with the court procedural legal reasons why that charge is unlawful. And there were three reasons this charge was unlawful. One, there was no evidence that the DPP had given his consent to the charge. Without that, it's an unlawful charge. Nobody should have to enter a plea to an unlawful charge. The court wouldn't even let me make that point.
The court wouldn't even let him make that point. So it's quite clear there. The Terrorism Act 2000, Section 117, subsection 2A. The Department of Public Prosecutions must obtain permission from the Attorney General to give consent to bring this charge prior to doing so. It's as clear as the crystal clear. I was going to say black and white, but black and yellow in this case. And it's indefensible as a part of recognised court procedure, and that's all that Tim Crossland was pointing out. But that's beyond the pale for the presiding judge, apparently.
They wouldn't even let me point out that this charge has not been properly commenced. I was carried out of court for refusing just to go along with this sausage factory that this court has been turned into. In summary, what I saw was a court breaching its legal obligation under Section 6 of the Human Rights Act 1998 to uphold convention rights. One of those is Article 6, the right to a fair trial. And if you don't allow people even to explain why the charge is unlawful, it's the clearest violation of that you can imagine. So this is a farce. This is a sausage factory. It is not a court of law.
It's a sausage factory. Pure and simple. Well put there from Tim Crossland of Defend Our Juries. That was all Defend Our Juries media, by the way. Credit where it's due. Not from yours truly. Wasn't in London today. Not today. But maybe soon. More news on that to come in future content. Yeah, please make sure that you've hit thumbs up on this stream, please, Raiders. Thanks for sticking with us. Post-raid, another shout out once again to Helena at No Justice. Do go and give Helena a follow at No Justice MTG Solidarity to Helena and the Raiders. That'd be a good band name, that, wouldn't it? Helena and the Raiders. From their album No Justice. You can have that one. I'll give that idea away. We've all got to stick together, you know.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Speaking of sticking together, here's a list of some excellent people who've been sticking with the channel in the best way. We're now on 176 members. Very pleased with achieving that, on the way to the target of 250. So thank you very much to everybody who's renewed memberships as well as gifted to others. Appreciate all of the support. Just a reminder, super chats are open as well as super stickers if you're watching live. If you're watching back later on, you might want to try super thanks, or there's a buy me a coffee page in the description of this stream, or any other content on the channel. By the way, do give us a share on your social media as well, and a follow at My Left Eye UK. I can see we've got a decent amount of members in the chat this evening, so glad to see you watching live, enjoying the quality in real time, and why not? If so many blank spaces there, that's not a technical issue, it is literally how it comes up on the members list. Just once again, shout out to Cole Dyer. Have to do an oral shout out to Cole Dyer, who was out of frame on that last group of 6 members that you should have seen there. Only 5 on screen. Okay, thanks again, members. Let's see who we've got in the chat as well. Some of you coming in with the raid, I can see some familiar names as well. Vicky Clee, Stu as well. Plenty of other members. Davinia, nice to see you. Specs Bean Farmer, nice to see you joining us. Just trying to close these windows. Things keep popping up on YouTube encouraging me to try and sell you things at this particular point in the live stream, but there'll only ever be one advert if you're watching live at the beginning, and I think one at the end, but none during the stream itself. That is always going to be a thing here on My Left Eye. But if you are watching back, later on, there will be ads. And yeah, we've not like put it on hyper frequent or anything like that. Don't worry. But we do have another 5 gifted memberships coming in. Thank you very much, Vicky. Can we have a shout out to Vicky Clee in the chat, please, everybody? Big up, big up. Let's adjust the total. 181 now. Great stuff. I think that's the first time we've actually got into the 180s. Does anybody want to do the darts thing in the chat? 181. And if you want to do the what's required, well, I'll let you do that for yourselves, people, tongue in cheek. Bit of a maths joke. Thank you very much once again, Vicky. Do appreciate that. Great to see members also spreading the joy to others as well.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Socialists. Oh my God.
Oh, goodness me, people, it's nearly midnight. Do stick around though. I'll be wrapping things up in a few moments here, but we'll see if anybody else is live and available for a raid. And a quick reminder, do join me on tomorrow's live stream. Of course, there's going to be that vote in Parliament over Mandelson. So we'll see if legislation is going to go through to strip him of his title, even though he won't be attending the House of Lords. He still, of course, has the title of Lord Peter Mandelson. So it remains to be seen if he'll still have it this time on the morrow. This space are available for a raid, so that's where we're going to be going, people. PMQs would be interesting as well, of course. Tomorrow, Keith's catchphrases and PMQs. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on that one, people. Stu also celebrating 8 months of membership. It's been great to have you the entire time, every single hour, every single minute and second of those 8 months, Stu. Nice to see you on stream as well. Thanks for celebrating. Okay, we're all queued up. Oh, and a great way to see things out. Another 5 gifted as well. That's awesome. So that will take us up to 6. Okay, it doesn't want to change the total. But thanks nonetheless. Let's give Efra Wells a shout out in the chat, please, everybody. Great way to finish off the stream. Nice to see you on stream as well. Hope you new members enjoy your perks. Sorry, I can't change that one. Just finishing off setting up the raid. There we go. We're locked in. We're locked and loaded. Over to this space we shall go, and I'll be back on this space here on the Brews at 10 on my left eye tomorrow. So please do join me there. You've been fantastic. I've been your humble host, Lefty. I'll be seeing you tomorrow of course, on aforementioned Livestream. But until then, free Palestine, power to the people, free Lebanon as well, Sudan and Yemen. Don't let the bastards grind you down. My Lefty, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night.
Jeremy Bernard Corbyn, commonly known as Jeremy Corbyn, independent, 24,000. That's 24,000.